So 45% of employers admit checking out candidates on social media. And this was in a recent survey, I think 2013, on themuse.com. So 76% was on Facebook, 48% was on LinkedIn, and 53% was on Twitter. So I found that to be really interesting because I would have expected the #1 place to be LinkedIn, because that's where you go to look at people, it's a professional, work-related social media channel. But 1 in 3 of the employers have rejected a candidate based on something that they found online. So one of the questions is, when are they looking at this? Are they looking at it before they even bring you in? Or are they Googling or searching people after they have their top 3 candidates? If you think maybe you have some controversial things on your social media accounts and you are applying for jobs and you're not getting any positive feedback, you may want to investigate further and see if that's one of the reasons. If they're Googling you or looking for you on Facebook and they're finding things that they don't like. So why are they looking at you online? So they're looking for your professionalism in terms of social conduct, 65%. So what's really interesting is that the lines of an employee and when you have to be, when you're representing your organization are really starting to blur. So, you may think, oh, well, I'm in the office, and that's when I represent my organization, and then I leave, and then I can go do things that I want. But there is a lot now of pressure, especially you've probably seen in the news on teachers. Teachers that post pictures of them drinking, teachers posting pictures of themselves on spring break in like very small bathing suits. They're posting them on Facebook and they're losing their jobs. So there is a lot of line blurring when it comes to what is just you and what is you as an Alberta's employee, as an Aflac employee, whatever. Does that make sense? So they're looking to see if you're socially responsible, even outside of the workplace, because they don't want a loose cannon or someone that may do something while you're on the clock with them that they wouldn't like. That's 65% of them. That's a lot. Then 51% is evaluating them to see if they fit in with the company culture. So that's a little bit more free-flowing. Do you look like a good fit for the organization? And ultimately, you want to make sure you're a good fit for the organization as well. And then 45% want to learn about your qualifications. So less than half are going to see if you're qualified. They're going for other stuff. So I find that to be pretty interesting. They're kind of just looking to see who you are. Do you know that admissions counselors are looking now when students apply to college? Now they're starting to look at the applicants on social media as well. So it's really interesting. It really becomes a picture of who you are, right? And this is our pizza, I believe, so we can hold that thought. Hello? Yes? Oh, wonderful, come right up. Thank you. Mr. Owens, would you mind helping me carry pizzas? Because we have a lot of them. You do not mind? Okay, so now we've identified that yes, employers are looking at you on social media. So what can we do about it, right? So you need to clean up your digital identity. So I wanted to share a couple of things with you. This is Justine Sacco. She is a PR representative. She was going to the continent of Africa. She decided to tweet, going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS, just kidding, I'm white. So it created a terrible, terrible, terrible Twitter response. And then there was a hashtag going, waiting for Justine to land, because she was in a super long flight. And during the time that she was in the flight to get where she was going in Africa, people were losing their cookies. And so she landed and lost her job, and obviously, so one tweet about something that you say off the cuff, and in the moment you think it's funny, depending on your humor, can be really, really bad. So she has since found another company that has hired her as a PR rep, but it took a lot to come back from that. I just took this picture of this kid from the internet because, one, remember, your pictures go on the internet. So, I found that. I don't know who that kid is. I just found him in Google Images. So, there's that, okay? And I'm sure that he was real cute that day, but now it's in my presentation on what not to do. So, think about that. And then I wanted to share with you this little video about Adam Smith. So, have any of you heard about, do you know who Adam Smith is? He was the chief financial officer at a company, and he did something on his own time. When Chick-fil-A, do you remember when Chick-fil-A announced that, I think they were giving money to anti-gay organizations. I think that's what they were doing. So there was a big upset because it's a public company or a company that is giving donations to anti-gay organizations. Down here, guys. Oh. All right, so the computer. Right, am I missing something? Okay, well that's a bummer. So basically this is Adam Smith. He's in line at the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. He's ordered his free water. You can go through and order water and just get it for free. And he's video recording it, and then when he gets up to the window here, he basically verbally assaults the woman that works there by saying, how can she work for such a terrible company? They are against gay rights and have publicly come out about that, and that he's a straight man, that he finds this disgusting, and how can she work for an organization? So this is a woman who really keeps herself very composed. And so he posts this on social media. Okay? Obviously, I found it. There were many articles about it. So, what do you think happened to him after he posted that video? Fired. So he doesn't work for a company that has anything to do with Chick-fil-A. He's a chief financial officer. But by the time he had made it to work that Monday, I think he posted it on like Friday or Saturday. By the time he made it to work that Monday, the company had received death threats. So that's an extreme case, but you'd be surprised sometimes when you think you're doing something funny or you're taking a stand on a cause that you believe in, but you're not recognizing how that may impact you in your larger, your larger world, your larger identity. So Adam Smith and his family, he has quite a few children, I believe, and they're on food stamps currently. He has not been able to find another job. He was hired for multiple jobs, and then when he was hired and got there, and then they found out about the Chick-fil-A video, and then they fired him. He moved his whole family to the other side of the country for a new job, and then they fired him after 2 weeks because they found out about the video prior to hiring him. Or after hiring him, rather. So those are things to think about. They can follow you. So even if he released an apology video and all this stuff, but it didn't really help him out, and he still is unemployed today. And his wife had to go back to work, and they have a lot of kids, and so I think they have 4 children. So one of my suggestions was to Google yourself. So I tried to Google all of you and see what comes up. So it's a good thing to constantly be looking at and see what comes up, because it's helpful for you to know. Especially, it's just helpful to know if there's someone with the same name as you that has some bad stuff going on. And you want to be able to address that if someone says something to you in an interview, right? Or if you really feel like the Twitter account is bad, I would put your own Twitter account on there. Or maybe if you're applying through an online application system and they say additional materials, you may just want to address it. This is not my Twitter account. If I know this person has the same name as me, etc. So you can put your own Twitter account, but of course you want to make sure your own Twitter account is very, very clean if you're drawing people to it. So my hope is after this session that you check your tweets, your posts, and all your pictures. You should trim down your groups, the things that you're liking, and your apps. So think about groups that you're in. Are any of those things controversial? If there's a lot out there, these people can go through, and depending on your privacy settings, maybe able to see more than you think. Cleaning up the pictures. I just went through and did another round. I found some pictures I didn't even realize were up there from college. I'm constantly still cleaning out my Facebook, right? Restrict tagging without approval. We talked about that a little bit earlier before we officially started, you should not let anyone post a picture or tag you in something without your approval. 100%. You need to know what that is, because if it's a friend of yours that isn't in school or they don't care about what kind of job they're going to get and they're going to post inappropriate things, you don't need that to be your problem. And you obviously want to set your account to private and decide on how private you want to be. Now, if you're a communications major, you may want to have everything open to everybody and make sure it's appropriate, because you may be selling yourself as a social media expert and you want people to be able to see it. So it just depends on what area you're interested in and how you want to present yourself and how much information you want out there. So there are a couple of apps and programs. So yesterday I used Repler.com as I was doing some additional research for this presentation. It logs in with your Facebook, and I linked to my LinkedIn, and it gives you a score on how inappropriate or not inappropriate it is. And I found that to be good. It didn't seem to be pulling a lot for my pictures. There were definitely a few that I felt like if it was going through them, it would have flagged them, and it didn't. So it seemed to be mostly looking for words and things, but I suggest using that program. It's a website. There's Simple Wash, and that didn't work great for me, but it was another option. Just be careful as you're searching for these to make sure it's a legitimate product. And then there's something called Clear, which is an app, and I found all these articles on it, but I could not for the life of me find it in the App Store. It may still be in beta, and I can't get access to it. So the person that created Clear is the person was Jeb Bush's PR representative for his presidential campaign, and he did some not great things, and then he got fired 2 weeks into it, and it was because of social media. So he created this app as a way to improve his own reputation and help others clear up their social media. So I believe it's still in beta, but you could look for the Clear app. And then there's Ajax Social Wipes, which I found to be in the same. I couldn't find them to download, but if you are savvier than I with these type of things, you may look for these products. The moral of that story is going through and looking yourself is the most thorough way of making sure everything is clean. Do not rely on these products to do that. And if you have to stop and think, is this appropriate, then just remove it. If it's even a question, just remove it. Because you don't want that to come back and get you. So that's about cleaning up your social media. Any questions on that? Questions on specific things or just larger picture things on making sure your social media channels? Yes.
Well, I don't know if you would know this, but how far back in your Facebook might they go?
I don't think they're going to go super far. So if you have a lot of stuff up there and all of it is appropriate, I doubt they're going to go digging for one inappropriate photo. That being said, they may go all the way back. They may be like, let's see the first thing that ever happened, the first thing you've ever posted, But I would say, if you have your mom or a grandmother look at your Facebook and they're cool with it after 5 minutes, if you can't find anything in 5 minutes, I think you're fine.
Right, because I have stuff from 8th grade and all that stuff, and I don't know how to go back and delete that, so I guess.
It's fun. So you can go in, mostly pictures. The posts are another thing, and that would be very time consuming. But maybe weekly, just set aside time, start with your pictures and go back. I mean, that's what if you have things starting from 8th grade, it's really interesting to, there's so much there. So I would say make sure your recent stuff is good, and then as you have extra time, maybe go through and clean out pictures first and foremost, and then see where the rest of it brings you. But if someone's on your site for a couple of minutes, I don't think they're going through much longer than that, depending on the job, So, but I think if you feel comfortable with what's on there after looking for a couple of minutes, and you have an adult or a grandparent that also is cool with all the content, then you're fine. But looking for an overall vibe. What kind of person are you? What are you doing? And would you fit with their company well? So if you're giving off one of those, a positive feeling, I don't think they're going to search for something bad.
What about pictures without, you're holding and
I take them down.
Okay.
It's a personal preference, but if it's between you and another candidate, and that person has really nice looking photos, and you have alcohol photos,
Even if it's just one.
yeah, you never know, right? So I used to work in college admissions, and the admissions counselor there was from Vermont and kind of a hippie and was open to, like, let's say that marijuana was not something that was a big deal in that person's culture. So if a student was applying and they had indicated something along those lines, like very minor, that person reading the application was like, it happens. But you get someone else that has a totally different feeling on it, and they're like, absolutely not, we don't want that kind of activity here. So a lot of it is relative. So it depends on who's looking, and it depends on, you know, if you're working for a PR company, and a lot of it is going out and getting together with clients and schmoozing, then maybe they wouldn't even think twice about it. But if you're a probation officer working with people that have, you know, so it's gonna be very connected to the industry that you're in, but like education and helping, anything in the helping fields, I would say just avoid it. Yeah. But other industries, it may be, you know, and it's hard to clean everything perfectly. So you start with what you can do, and then you just try to be mindful of it. Yes.
One thing I was gonna say is, like your friends, the way they comment on your pictures too, should really be aware because they can say like, "Oh, you find it," like, you know.
Yeah. So that is another privacy setting that you can look at, is who can view the comments on your posts, and is it the public, just friends, et cetera, et cetera. So something to look at, because that is a reflection of the people that you surround yourself with. So if you have people writing really inappropriate things, even if everything you post is fine, if all your friends are like, it's bad, then. And if you find that's consistently happening and you can't get them to stop, then I would stop posting things that you find elicit that kind of response from your friends.
Yeah, just delete that.
Yeah. Yes. Other question? Okay, so you now have transitioned from your social media maybe being a negative, and now we've cleaned it up and we're ready to think about it being a positive. So you want to identify a brand. You're selling something. When you are going out and trying to get a job, you're telling them, this is why you should hire me. So you are selling yourself, you're selling your service. So you want to take time to think about the qualities that you have that make you different from another applicant. This is really important, because if you truly think about, take time thinking about this, and take time to think about how you're going to sell yourself, it's going to come across in your resume, it's going to come across in your cover letter, and it's certainly going to come across in your interview when you're there selling yourself. But if you don't take time to think about that, you're just going to put the same thing on your resume that everyone else does. So you say like, I have good written and verbal communication skills, I'm comfortable working with diverse populations. Those are the things that I help students put on their resume every day. But what I want you to think of is that next level. So you want to ask yourself these questions. What is it that my product or service does that makes it different? What about you makes you different from the other people applying for the job? What do I do that adds remarkable, measurable, distinguished, and distinctive value? So in my position, if I was applying for another career services job, I would list how many workshops I offer in each semester, and I would list how many students attended all of them. So I'm giving a measurable number, and then I would compare those to previous years and say, I have improved student involvement in workshops by 57% in 1 year. That is a measurable, marketable information that I can give when I'm applying for a job. What do you do that you're most proud of? So that may be part of your academics, but it may be some of your extracurriculars. What are you really proud of? What have you done? Do you volunteer? Do you work a lot with your church? Are you just really, really proud of your time management? You're able to balance a lot of things. Those are going to start to help you build a list of the things you're going to use to market yourself. And what have you accomplished that you can brag about? So I suggest sitting down after this and really thinking about that and trying to let that reflect you, not only on your resume and your cover letter and your interview, but how can you prove that on your social media? So that when you apply for a job and they go and they Google you and they find your Facebook, is that message, is your brand clearly identifiable on your social media channels, as well as the official things that you're sending in when you're trying to get a job? So here are some of my suggestions on using social media for marketing your brand. So following companies and industry professionals on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever. So do any of you do that already? Do you follow anyone that is a person that you really admire or a company that you're really interested in working with? And do you see the things that they're posting fairly often? So it helps you in a couple of ways. How do you think, what do you take away, especially for those of you that do that, what do you take away from following those people or those organizations? How is it helpful to you, or how do you benefit?
What they're doing.
It's like a template.
Say it
Like
again.
templates. Like,
So you know what, you have a foot in the industry, a toe in the industry, you're seeing what they're doing, you have a couple of speaking points. If they're commenting on things that are happening within the industry or within their organization, you are up to date on relevant information so you can speak to that. I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'll talk about Google. Have you guys done Google Alerts before? So you can set up in Google every day or every week, or maybe even monthly. I do, right now I have daily, it's a little overwhelming, I would go weekly. But you can set up words that Google searches for, and then every day or every week sends you an email with the most relevant articles that have come out on the internet related to that. So you can put your industry that you want to go into, you can put an organization that you really want to work for. So what do you think, if you really wanted to work at Albertus Magnus College and you set up an alert for anything in the news that came out with Albertus Magnus College in it, what do you think are some things you might learn about that would be helpful to you in your job search? Anything that had Albertus in the news? What do you think? What's the benefit to knowing that stuff, things that they're doing?
It shows that you're involved and you're actually cared about where you were placed in school. Like you didn't just settle there, so to speak.
Yeah, so if you are interested in working at a company and you know what's going on, you're obviously interested in, let's say you want to work at 3 Prime is a marketing company, web design and marketing company in New Haven. If you follow them and you read an article that they were just contracted to do all of the marketing for Panera Regional or something, I don't know. What would that mean to you? If you read an article about the company that you're interested in and they just got a huge contract.
I was gonna say that they're creative, but I'm not sure if that works.
Yeah, so they probably are good at their job, right? Because they just got a big contract. What else does it mean for you? They might be hiring. So what a great time to get your resume together and maybe send a letter of intent to them with your resume saying, I just read in the news that you obviously signed this contract, but wonderful, this is so wonderful, you and your organization. If you will be increasing your, staffing for that opportunity, I would love for you to look over my resume and consider me for any positions you believe me to be qualified for. Send it in beforehand. Companies want to hire someone that wants to be there. So if you take the initiative to know what's going on with that organization before they even tell anyone about it on their own, on their own channels or put those job postings on there, wouldn't you be more likely to hire someone that wanted to work for you and was taking the time to follow you in the news? It could save them a lot of time, right? If you're really interested. So think about doing Google Alerts for, it's just keywords, and then the Google searches that when they give you articles. So I do it every day for career services, salary, higher education. I do all kinds of things, and I catch a lot of really cool articles that way. And that also can keep you up to date on what's going on in your industry. So what I do for career services, I read these articles that I get every day, and then I go to my Twitter feed, and I post some of the articles and I share it out with people. So what is that doing for my Twitter feed? What is it, if someone went and Googled career services for Albertus, what are they going to see? Yeah, like industry stuff. They're like, oh, career services, like Pat knows what's going on. Same thing for you. If you're Googling things about your industry and you're putting that out on your Twitter or your whatever, then it looks like you know what's going on. Do you think that a lot of people are doing that at your age? Probably not. So do you think if you're the one that's doing that and they Google you and they find that when you're applying for a job, they're going to consider you? Yes. And of course, you may get flack from your friends for doing this. Okay? But you can tell them, you'd be happy to take them out to dinner when you have a job and they don't, and talk to them about the importance of social media, right? So you can't let other people, that's the bad part about social media, everybody sees it and everyone has a comment on it. Okay? So remember you're doing things for you. So you may want to start a blog. You may want to write about things. Maybe you're reading all these articles. Maybe you have opinions on your industry. Go ahead and put them out there. You never know. I have a friend who is a life coach, and she writes these articles, and they get picked up by the Huffington Post all the time. So you never know. You never know what could go out there. So Google Alerts, we talked a little bit. Creating a video resume. I'm really hopeful that this can work because this was really good, but I don't know. And then have an e-resume or a digital resume, and LinkedIn is an option. And we're going to talk a little bit more about LinkedIn. Let me please see if this will work, but of course not.
When you get the IT guy,
I know. You would think, I'll try to do it. So anyway, this is this woman's video resume. It's nice. It's simple. We're talking one camera and a white background. And it's just her talking about her achievements. Now, I've had a couple of them. I found some from students, and they were good, but they were clearly just literally reading their resume. What this woman had done, and I can send all of you this presentation if you want to see it, and then you can watch some of this on your own. What this woman had done was highlighting her achievements in her organization in a way that you couldn't do in a resume or even sometimes a cover letter. So she was saying that she was a manager at, I think, a Wells Fargo bank, and that her team, she oversaw 6 people, and 4 of the people that she oversaw became assistant managers in less than a year when the normal track is 2 years. So that's a lot of words to put into a cover letter when maybe you are trying to say other things, but in a video, you can say them in 6 seconds. So this is really cool. And if you do this and you have your name in it, this may start to come up when people are Googling you, and this doesn't take that much time. Like, you could easily do something like this over winter break. You come up with your script, you could film it from a couple different angles, just do the whole thing, and then use Windows Movie Maker or another, if you have a Mac computer, sometimes they have iMovie or something. That it's relatively easy to put together, and we have tech tutors here that can probably help you with that. But this is really cool, because this is a true, visual representation of what you can offer. So she looks professional. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I judged a little when I first saw her in the video. But I watched her 45-second video, and I was like, this woman's legit, based on the information that she said. So that's pretty impressive, because I looked at her at first, and I didn't know what I was gonna, what she was gonna be talking about. And by the end of the 45 seconds, she really won me over. Like, I would interview her. So she, looks professional. And I would guess that this attire is very common in her industry. So you also want to keep your industry in mind, right? So she looks professional. She wasn't reading really obviously. I saw a couple of them when it was really obvious that they were reading like a cue card, and like, that's good, but if it's you're talking about you would hope that you could maybe speak about yourself without reading off the cue card like explicitly, or just do enough takes. And you're only doing 30 seconds, 45 seconds. You may do a whole series. If you're an athlete, you could speak to the benefits of having, been part of a Division III athletic program and going to school at the same time, and how it's taught you time management and balancing things and prioritizing and being detail-oriented. You can help make connections for people. And how great would it be if that's what they came up with? If that's what they Googled and that's what they found? I would be excited, right, if I was looking to hire someone. And that's something that you can link to in all of your different e-resumes or digital resumes or all that good stuff. Okay, so LinkedIn. How many of you have LinkedIn profiles? Okay, so you should go onto LinkedIn. You should start to create that. You can start with the information that's in your resume. Once you create the profile, then you're going to start getting connected. So you're going to connect with the people that you are friends with via your social media channels and also via your email. They'll connect you with your email. Then I would follow companies and organizations, just like you could do for Google Alerts or on your other social media channels. I would follow them. You can share articles just like you can on Facebook, but I would do them like industry stuff. If they're seeing that you're active, that would be really good if you're active. And then people can endorse you for skills on LinkedIn. So you will have some skills that you are good at, and then people that you're connected with on LinkedIn can say, yes, I believe that person is good at that. And then on the bottom of your profile, it will show how many people have endorsed you for each of your skills. Does that make sense? Do you have a question about?
Yeah, how much can you control who gets connected to your LinkedIn account, whatever? Like if I don't want my Facebook friends.
You control. Yeah, so you can merge it with your Facebook or not. You don't have to. You can just find people or like you're manually, or you can let LinkedIn search your email addresses and it will find anyone in LinkedIn that has the same email that is in your address book, or you can connect it with your social media.
Yeah, you also get emails sent to your Gmail. People ask to follow you.
Yeah, so you don't have to be connected with anyone that you don't want to.
Okay, that's good.
And then people can endorse you, and then you can join groups. So like when I switched over to career services, I joined a bunch of career services groups. There's some cool conversations going on in there. So it's one of those things that you can leave stagnant and not get a lot out of, or you can go on every couple of days and look at the articles that are there, and again, create that digital brand for yourself. So this, I know that we're probably over towards the end of our time, so questions or comments on all of that good information? Was some of that new and or helpful information for everybody? Okay, good. So this is, I also brought a bunch of my business cards. You're welcome to one of those. If you want to contact me, my contact information is on front. And this is a little worksheet that I had found how to build your personal brand. It didn't copy wonderfully, but it's a place to kind of help you think about what you want your digital identity to be. Yes.
I have a question. Do you have to pay for the Google search results, like if you want it up top, like something about you?
If you want to, yes, so it would be Google Ads,
Okay.
and yeah, you do have to pay for it.
Oh, okay. So if your name is found randomly here,
This is a general internet
This is
search.
general,
Yep,
okay.
yep, with the ad
Also, the
space.
alerts you have to pay for, or is that something?
No, alerts are free. If you wanted, you know, Google AdWords are like the first two things that come up sometimes when you Google something. You can pay to be there, but typically it's only you pay per click.
yeah,
So my husband does it for Thanksgiving. You only pay for as many people click on there.
yeah.
All right, so take some pizza.